Hi, this is my presentation on abortion and rights. And it helps to know who I am. I'm not a right-wing zealot. I'm not a left-wing zealot. I'm California born. I tend to be a little more liberal-leaning, but I've lived all over the nation. I'm somewhat of an independent. If you hear the argument framed, you'll get one group that says, oh, 80% of the population is pro-choice, and then the other group will say, well, nearly 80% is pro-life. And both are true. What happens is there's a spectrum of views on making it legal versus illegal, with the majority being in between. So depending on how you frame the cutoff, you can twist it to be for either side. And it doesn't matter whose particular polls you used. I used 4 different polls over the last 5 or 10 years and just averaged them. So, and when you look at it by party, it's more of an American issue than a party issue. A lot of people want more restrictions, but a lot of people want it available in general. When you break it down by term, it becomes even clearer. The majority of the population wants first-term abortions legal, or at least legal in some cases, and a larger majority want it illegal by the 3rd trimester, or very, very hard to get. Now, to understand the scale of how many abortions there are, there's about 840,000 a year, the majority of them coming in the 1st and 2nd trimester, but a significant minority is coming in very late. If you just look at late-term abortions, those performed after 20 weeks, there's about 13,000 being killed each year, which is about 10 times what the Iraq War deaths were. And if you look at it by race, eugenics is being practiced. We're killing we're terminating blacks and Hispanics far more often than we're terminating white babies or Asians. And when you ask people why they have an abortion, rape and incest, less than 1%. It's used as justification for it, but it's not a real prevalent use. Health of the mother, health of the fetus, again combined, 6%. The majority is just convenience. Why have an abortion late term? It's not like the stats get any better. Fetal problems, less than 1%. You're getting reasons like, I'm too busy, or, oh, I didn't realize I was pregnant for 20 odd weeks. So it's basically being done for convenience of the mother. Now, to understand the abortion debate, you really need to understand Roe versus Wade. Basically, it used the 14th Amendment to justify the rights of the mother. Basically up to the point at which the fetus becomes viable, which is 21 weeks. So even in the ruling itself and the opinions, they said, look, 1st trimester, it's a right of a mother. 3rd trimester, we start to have to think of the rights of the fetus a lot. And in 2nd trimester, it's gray area. That's not really a federal issue. We're going to leave it more to the states to regulate, which isn't how it's been interpreted since then. But if you read the ruling itself, it says, look, this right is not unqualified. States should be involved in regulating it. Blackmun, who authored the majority decision, said, you'll observe, I have concluded that the end of the 1st trimester is critical. That's where it should be absolutely protected, and then after it, it's got to be debated and regulated. Basically what Roe versus Wade did is it put the 14th Amendment against some others. It said, look, we have to protect the rights of the mother and her freedom, but we're not going to apply that to the fetus as much. But it put it in conflict with the 10th Amendment, which said powers not delegated to the U.S. by the Constitution, and this was never in the Constitution, should be offered to the states or the people. And it also conflicted a bit with judicial powers in the 11th Amendment. The dissenting opinions were things like, look, there's nothing in the Constitution that supports this court's decision. This should have been left to the people. Rehnquist was even harsher. To reach this result, the court had to find in the 14th Amendment something that had never been in there. And it hadn't been in there by the drafters of the amendment because abortion was illegal when the drafters put the 14th Amendment in. They didn't think it should apply. When you look at legal scholars that have gone back and reviewed Blackmun's rulings, they all kind of said, "Pox, this is crap." Every his own papers vindicate every indictment of Roe. He used judicial invention, overreach, arbitrary, and was indifferent to parts of the law that he didn't want to pay attention to. Harvard Law Review said similar things. Historians, laymen, or lawyers have never been persuaded that this was part of the Constitution, which meant it was a bad ruling. His own law clerk, Blackmun's own law clerk, who loved Blackmun like a grandfather, wrote, "Just Roe borders on indefensible. No one has ever produced a convincing defense that it's good law." And it's brought up all these messy issues. It's meant that we now have to fight over parental notification. Where does that begin? It's right now the only medical procedure your child can get without your approval. It's intruded on states' rights. It brings up all sorts of messy financing issues. Not only could it be immoral, but now you're forcing other people to pay for it. And where should these lines be drawn? If you took away Roe, a lot of people start this fear that, if you took away Roe, the world would end, there'd be no abortions. But that's kind of crap. There were many states that had it legal beforehand. And if you take it away, it falls back to the states' rights. Most states would have it legal in at least some cases. Those that didn't, neighboring states still would, so people would have access. It would just be less convenient. So in conclusion, I think Roe versus Wade was really bad law. It made a precedent where there never was one. And it's been misinterpreted. By the intent of the law, it was meant to protect first trimester abortion. But the way it's been used is to protect third trimester abortion, which the majority of the public is against. And even the Roe versus Wade justices didn't agree that's what it was for. And does the end really justify the means? Should we pervert our Constitution in order to save some rights? I don't really think so. And remember, I support first trimester abortions. I even support second trimester ones. But I think we're taking this way too far. So as far as intrusions on individual liberties, I think of this as 10 bad Patriot Acts all rolled into one with far less justification. Anyways, thank you very much for your time.